Hello everyone, welcome back to the next session. Let's start the build, and to build this one, there are different ways. The most feasible way and recommended way is implement this using the BADL. So what BADL has to be implemented? We have various BADLs, right? Rule service BADL, rule service cross entity BADL. Which BADL we can use? So for that, data quality and search BADLs, we can implement this BADL. Define validations or derivation. Rule service BADL. These are the standard implementations. We'll create our own custom BADL implementation. Click on create. This is the enhancement spot. So like I said earlier also, while you are implementing only, please make a note of the things so that you won't be in trouble at the last minute. The BADL definition also same. And from now, it is purely technical. Functionals can pay attention to understand what are the efforts required to build it in the system and what is the process. I'll create a new implementation. Click on OK. You need to give the enhancement implementation name. CR header. So this is the enhancement implementation. Click on OK. Choose the package and BADL implementation name. So in real time, you need to follow your project standards. Every project has its own coding standards. You need to follow that. Here I'm just following the commonly used standards. Implementation class. Click on OK. So now the implementation got created and we need to provide the filter value. Since it is the CR header validation, so the CR header is linked to type 1 entity. So we can put a condition on the type 1 entity. Combination, either you can choose only the data model, then this BADL would trigger for all the entities of that data model, or if you want a specific entity type only, it needs to trigger this BADL. Because unnecessarily, why we need to trigger this BADL for all the entity types? That would cause the performance issue. So always better is, if your requirement is entity specific, put a filter on the entity type. Don't put a filter on the data model. In our case, it is specific to CR header. So that CR header is obviously linked to the type 1 entity. So I'll keep a filter on type 1 entity. Data model, and entity type, the type 1 entity for material, is material. Save this. Implementing class, go here. We need to provide the empty implementation since those are the interface methods. Switch to change mode. You just provide the empty implementation for everything. There is nothing wrong. Okay, now all good. Let me activate everything. Now everything got activated. So here, if you would like to implement a single entity validation or cross entity validation, this method we are going to implement. Check entity. If you go inside, let's understand the method signature first. You will get the data model reference, model extension API. So that model API is used to read the staging data mainly. So here using this reference, you can be able to read an entity data. Next, edition. That is specific to the finance only. And change request. What is the current CR number? Here we don't get the CR type. We need to read the CR type. We get only the CR number. And what is the current entity? So this body would trigger once for every entity. So what is the current entity that triggers this body? That's why I mentioned the filter on the type 1 entity, because to validate the CR header, unnecessarily we should not let that trigger for all the entities. It would cause the performance issues, right? So that is the reason. Now, online check, you can just ignore that. IT data, you will get the current entity data into this one. Let's say current entity is Marcy basic. That Marcy basic entity data is available here. And if you would like to read other entities data, you can use this reference. And message, once you perform the validations, if you would like to throw an error message onto the UI, then you need to fill this internal table, ET underscore message. So this is about the signature of the check entity method. And in our case, what we are going to do is we are going to identify the current CR step and the CR type. If the current CR type is this one, ZM81 M24, and the CR step is 00, then only we are going to validate the CR nodes and attachments. And for that, first we need to read the nodes and attachments values from the current CR. And we'll put a condition, if both of them are blank, then throw an error message. We are going to implement that logic in this method.